So I'm really glad we got together, Susan, because it's so funny. There was something you said right before we started speaking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was thinking when you said, just do one thing at a time, and I was like, how apt is that for, for us getting together today to talk
Definitely.
about self-care. So there's this part that doesn't click, and I know that there should be moments for self-care. It's not self-indulgence, it's not an indulgence, it's just the necessary care, the rest, the restoration, the rejuvenation that we tell our family members, our loved ones, our friends to do, that we should be doing routinely.
Yeah.
We should sleep every evening
Yeah.
for a certain amount of hours. We should brush and floss our teeth every day to maintain our gum lines. There are other elements of just taking a moment for yourself. And there's some I know what to do. I know I should do it, but I won't do it. And so, I'm always talking about giving to others. But the question came up is, why won't I give to me? And I know that there are others like me out there. We have these conversations. Why won't I take care of me? I know that, taking care of myself is important. I love this quote. You'll see it bandied about a lot on social media. You can't pour from an empty glass, to fill your cup up first, something like that.
Yeah.
And so we
Yeah.
know it. We're like, we get it, resonates, but
Yeah.
why won't I give to me? And so I said, I want to speak to Susan, the expert on self-care and whatnot and methods, to kind of get your take on what's not clicking. Why won't we do it, even though we know we should?
Well, I think it's complicated. It's definitely complicated, and it's something that is just so pervasive in our culture. In some ways there is, as you suggested, sometimes this sense of taking care of yourself is selfish, but we know clearly that it is not. It's essential in order to be productive, in order to be, safe, etc. But I think, when we think of it in terms of, professional people working in an office, etc., we want our employees to take care of themselves so that they can show up and be present and be productive. But, people are overextended these days. They are overwhelmed with, caregiving, with the news, with the changes, the constant changes in the regulations, with the pandemic. We have been stretched, and we have been kind of overwhelmed for quite a while now. And when you're overtired, it's hard to make decisions. Sometimes it's hard to make the right decisions. And so it's kind of like a chicken and an egg. Sometimes the solutions are right in front of us. They are so simple, such as get enough rest, eat the right foods. And yet those are the things, rest is one of the first things to go when people stay up late, checking in with their email, checking in with their social media after they've worked all day and they've, cared for their family. Many women are also, they are the teacher in the home. Parents have been the educators in the home, over the past couple of years as schools have been remote and so on. There's been a lot of factors that have kind of overtaxed us. So we keep going, and again, back to the culture of doing that we live in. We are a culture of doing and accomplishing, and so that makes it hard for us to justify taking care of ourselves, justify being still, being quiet. But again, back to your question, why don't more people do it? It's a question of why, when it's available, why, when corporations offer the benefit of, gym memberships and self-care apps and weight loss apps, why is it that people don't actually do it? And, I think every diet works. Every 12-step program works. These apps that are behavioral apps to help with behaviors that are not healthy, they work, but the individual has to do the work. They have to be willing to do what is necessary. And that's where I think we end up, running up against a wall, because we're tired. We're tired. We are overextended. And so it's really the support, the ongoing consistent support and ongoing consistent reminders that you're worth it, you're entitled to it, it's important for yourself and for those you care for one to take care of themselves, for you to take care of yourself. And that's why I'm excited about the prospect of working together, Samantha, so that we can provide a program of wellness to organizations and to individuals, where they are getting the reminders through whatever nice reminder we might offer in a gifting sense. They're gifted that item and then reminded to take care of themselves, as well as reminders in terms of the programming and an opportunity to show up and come together and practice certain skills for self-care.
And yeah, and it's interesting. There's something you mentioned earlier there that I kind of want to kind of delve into a little more. And you gave an example of some of the things that corporates are doing, and you talked about the gym, which is always great. It's a great benefit to have, absolutely. And I think one of those, so as we kind of delve a bit more into why won't I? I think if you're the sort of person that is already going to the gym, let's say, we'll call it, Jane joins a new company. Jane's already a gym person, already going to the gym or working out. So it's easier, because that's something Jane's already inclined to do. It's easier to kind of, okay, now I'll just go to the gym here. How convenient. I don't have to go to the Lifetime or to fitness or whatever. It's right here on campus or in the building. And so I think that's easy enough maybe for Jane to fit in, because it's already part of her lifestyle. But then if we take Joan, for example, and Joan doesn't exercise and is thinking about, how can I take time out for me? How can I take time to take care of myself and give to me? Well, it's not just about going to the gym. You've now got to start this whole habit in there, right? And it's almost like there's more things to do, because going to the gym involves the packing off the bag and being organized from the night before. Maybe if you haven't been going so often, you may not like the range of gym clothes that are available to you, and so you feel uncomfortable, and then you're going to bump into your colleagues while you're in those clothes that don't fit as well. Right?
Excuses. Yes.
Exactly.
Excuses.
But it's things that kind of pile up that now make it even more difficult. That's sort of a hurdle to give into yourself, because you have to do all of these things, fit it in around meeting time, or wait till the end of the day, and then you're exhausted. Or, like we said, for women in particular, you've got to run off and go and take care of family, be it children, elderly parents, other obligations. So I think that's some of that may be some of it as well, is you've got to build, there's so much that into some of these these wellness options that are given, that it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen consistently. We talked about behavioral changes and we talked about logistics. So I'm going to go on the logistical end of things for a second. So a couple of things that come to mind for me are, I'm going to focus on Joan because that, you know, that's who I relate to more, right? It's the having to build the habit from scratch. It's always so hard when you've not got momentum to start from scratch. You know, so one that I always hear of from Gillian Michaels is just to stand there and kind of just punch the air just for 20 seconds or something. You know, set your timer and do that. And maybe, so, you know, just kind of having those things that you can have at your desk that are very discreet.
Yes.
Yes, that you can do. And I do, you know, I do like that maybe if you're on that phone call and it's a little bit stressful, you know, you're having you know, that sort of discussion where you can feel the blood temperature rising. I do like the idea of some tapping to kind of bring that back down. But I do think, you know, we'd be remiss to not mention that carve out that time. We still need to carve out that time for self-care. You know, I often like a cup of something, just the brewing of your tea, a cup of tea, that brewing. And I think another thing that people are guilty of, especially if you're in the office and you're at the coffee machine, is, okay, the Keurig's going or whatever the machine's going, you know, and you're tapping away at your phone while you wait. And, you know, I have to say, you know, with my moment of mindfulness, just take that time for a moment, focus on nothing. You've got 2 to 3 minutes while your tea's brewing, because that's good, you know, amount of time. Just take that moment to just breathe. That would be a good time. Tea is brewing. That would be a good time for tapping or a short meditation.
You know, giving our, you know, those that we care for or those that are in our work environment permission to take care of themselves is essential. I know as parents, you know, I encourage parents to give permission to their children to just do one thing at a time, you know, to just sit.
I'm sorry, but in that one word, I think you've answered the question there. Why won't I give to me? Because somebody hasn't given us permission. We're not doing this because we don't have permission. And I think that really, we're not going to give the permission to ourselves. So, you know, under normal circumstances, we don't give ourselves that permission. We give ourselves permission to do more and see how much we can fit in, but we don't give ourselves permission to stop. It's typically illness that gives us permission to stop. So that's what it is. I think that's what it is permission. And I like that you said that, you know, those of us who are in a position of, you know, chief people officer, wellness officer, chief happiness officer, actually give your people permission to take a lunch break, permission to stretch, we encourage it. I think that's definitely one to help people to breathe. Yes.
And I think that it could change everything, because again, the world has changed dramatically since, you know, 2020. We all know that. And the number of stressors and the number of variables that we deal with as we interact with other people, and we return to work in a whole new work environment with some days home, some days in person. And so I do think for those executives, those people who are managing others, for them to change the tenor of the workplace by giving permission and acknowledging that their staff has gone through and continues to go through a lot in these very simple ways, it can transform the workplace and it can encourage wellness. You know, I think it's like a lot of things, it's a lot simpler than we make it. And it's that interpersonal connection that the manager, employer can make, that the parent can make with their child, to say, it's okay to slow down and take care of yourself. Because ultimately, going back to these, you know, what we all know, you have to put the face mask on yourself before you can help another breathe, you know, help another in crisis. And it's the same in the workplace. It's an opportunity for us to transform the way we think about work and we think about wellness. And, you know, having these reminders, having these tools and these programs to encourage and allow people to take a minute here and there, take a few minutes here and there. You know, back to your point that with your getting a cup of coffee or getting a cup of tea, the entire practice of brewing the tea, waiting for the tea bag to, you know, to brew, and then
Tea leaves.
sipping the tea or tea leaves, yeah, then that's an opportunity to take a breath, an opportunity to feel your feet on the floor. And it's the reminder that we can give to our coworkers, that employers can give to their employees, that it's okay, you have permission. And it's not only that, it's essential.
So, you know, I'm thinking, Susan, just, you know, you were saying earlier that there are these, you know, we're talking about these different measures that we can have that are really simple to do, but something occurred to me, can we make it easy for it to be done for, you know, those who are in that, you know, wellness realm, the responsible for wellness for their teams? Can we make it easy for them and just kind of create a resource? Would you be out for this? We just create a resource that, you know, people can take back to their offices, to their people, and say, look, our company is, you know, really about, you know, behind your wellness and your health, you know, physical, mental, and here are some things you can do during the day. Give them that permission, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
We give permission to take care of yourself, and here are some small, simple, but effective ways to do so.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to do that. We will definitely freely offer that.
So fantastic. So the takeaway for me today, and that was an eye-opener, why won't I give to me? Why won't other people give to ourselves, even though, you know, we're all very intelligent and know that we should take this time? And it's permission.
Yes.
We need permission to do that, and nobody's giving it to us. And we won't give it to ourselves.
But it's a simple solution. So I'm excited.
Yes, I am too. Well, you know what? Let's get together for another session like this. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Me too. Nice to see you. Okay.
And you take care. Bye-bye. Susan and I are offering you a resource, as we mentioned, of techniques that your team can use in the office for a few moments of self-care, a few moments of focusing on their wellness without taking away too much from their workday, but still being able to take care of themselves for a few seconds and bring their best selves to the job. So if you'd like a copy of the techniques, click on the link that's provided and just pop your email in and we'll get that sent over to you right away.